Hello and welcome to this Wednesday's episode of Moon Knight, reviewing the entire show. I am one of your hosts, Eric, and the other host on the other side of the mic is Daniel.
Hello and welcome.
Hello.
How you doing? How you doing, my buddy?
Good, man. Ben, good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Busy weekend.
Yeah. Did a lot of walking, did a lot of calling. And then today I was like, well, last night, I've had a very weird sleeping schedule this weekend. It's been really nice. And I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. And I plan to stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning of tomorrow because I work night shift and I need to get back on the night shift schedule, right?
Yeah, you have to acclimate.
Yeah. So I've just felt like my 3-day my 3-day weekend has been about like 4 days. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, dude. Let's do like 5 minutes each episode. You think that's good?
Yeah, I like that. But before we jump too far into this, I'm gonna plug it because I know you won't, but I'm going to. Eric humbly didn't mention what he was doing a lot this weekend, which was working on his own YouTube, uploading some a cool Detroit Human series. He has 4 episodes out. You should check it out on Under Cloudy Skies. That's right, plugging it for you, bruv.
Thanks, dude. But yeah,
okay, let's jump into this bish.
I love it. Okie dokie. Let's see. First episode of Moon Knight. Total killer. I loved it.
I definitely think it was a great pilot, like a great way to start the series.
I concur. I need to see pictures of the first episode. Okay, I now remember everything. Oh yeah, just so if you listen to Friday's episode, I said that I was going to rewatch the whole thing this weekend.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Neither of us did that.
I didn't. Okay, so first episode, I'm not going to do like a whole run through of what happens. But man becomes Moon Knight and actually realizes he becomes Moon Knight. Kicks a jackal's ass. Super cool. Moon Knight. Rah! I think it was a really good introduction to a character we have never seen before. And I hope that when they introduce more characters through miniseries, they don't like do the same thing that they did here, but like I hope they kind of follow this formula. I hope that it's at least 8 to 10 episodes. 6 is too short. Disney, if you're listening to this, you're definitely not, but 6 is too short. Get your shit together.
I will forever die on this hill that 6 episodes.
6 is too short.
You might as well not make the TV show.
Yep. Nope, don't do it. It's not even worth it.
I'm gonna cry if Kenobi is only 6 episodes, dude.
I
didn't even think of that as a possibility. Oh, I'm gonna cry if that's 6 episodes, but for another day.
It's 6. I just googled it.
Is it?
Anywho.
I'm gonna go cry in a corner. You can do this podcast by yourself.
Okay, I got the energy. I'm eating raspberries and blueberries right now, so natural energy for days.
I do agree though. I think this was a great episode for introducing us to not just like Moon Knight, but the character of Mark/Steven.
Yeah.
Mark, not so much in the first episode. You don't really get much of Mark.
Yeah, he's more the second one.
Yeah, but Steven, you kind of get an idea that, like, you don't really see him in the Moon Knight costume at all, but you kind of get an idea that, like, he is Moon Knight to a degree, or, like, he has, like, something's going on, because the man is in it. Like, I love the fact that the first episode, especially the first and second episode, was just them really showing the blackouts. And, like, every time he switched, how he blacked out.
Yeah, they really put an emphasis on that to be like, hey, something's happening.
Yeah, which, honestly, like, I think that's probably one of my favorite things they did as a storytelling, like, technique, like, cinematography-wise, was having, like, blackouts. I feel like towards the end of the show, they did it unneededly. Like when they did it when Jake took over and Harrow was on the ground in the final fight.
Yeah.
That was unneeded,
That was just
in my
stupid.
opinion. Yeah, we just missed the big climax fight. Like,
Yeah, that was also the point, though. Oh, gotta hype it up for an untold second season.
Yeah, even though they haven't even been taken on for a second season, but
I mean, they probably will.
I think in the first half of this, especially in the first episode, it was really, really cool, and I really enjoyed that as a storytelling technique they used.
On to episode 2. This is when we get to see Steven turn into Moon Knight, correct? This is the very end where he falls down, hits the ground.
Yes.
She said suit, and he's all dripping out in a cool, awesome suit.
No, that's season 3. Season 2, I'm not season 3. That's episode 3. Episode 2 is when we see Mark in the Moon Knight costume in the museum.
No, that's the end of the first one.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm looking at.
Oh,
yeah.
And then episode 2 is when we get Harrow. Harrow kidnaps Steven, and then Steven. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I just googled Moon Knight episode 2, and then I'm just looking at pictures, and all the memories flood back.
Dude, they fucking jam packed so much.
They really
did.
So
quickly.
I really liked episode 2 as well. I thought that it had good pace and good everything, and it started to build into something really, really fun. This is also when I started to understand that Harrow was only the monologue man, and we were going to get unnecessary fight scenes, because
Harrow was definitely exposition dude. Yeah. Like anytime they needed a lore dump, Harrow was the one who did it.
Yeah. And the fact that Moon Knight or Steven or Mark or whatever, whoever you want to call him, and what's her name? I already forgot her name. Lila. When they fought the invisible jackal that they had already killed, because, nobody else can see it, so it'd be funny to see two people fight nothing. Low budget fight scene. That's so funny.
Well, they had to save all that budget for the end.
Godzilla fight.
Which,
and
honestly,
I'm okay with it.
Worth it.
So worth it, dude. But I did really like episode 2, because that was when we also got to see like Mark and Steven start to have their beef, and then Mark ends up at the very end of that one in no, that's the third one where he ends up in Egypt.
Well, at the very end of the second episode, he is in Egypt, yes. And the very, very, the end of it cuts to Mark in Egypt drinking.
Was it the second one?
Yeah, because in the second episode, what happens is Steven's in control, and like you said, they're beefing out, Yeah. But Mark is like, come on, let me take over.
Oh, right.
You don't know how to fight. And then Steven's trying, and then Steven's, out for the count. He's gotten his ass beaten. He's like, okay, take over.
Yeah.
Mark takes over, and then Steven's like, okay, give me back my control. And he's like, nah, you can have it once I finish what I need to. And then Steven starts, yelling at him, and then he punches the glass, and then him and Khonshu talk, and then it cuts to Mark drinking to keep himself awake.
Yes, sir. Binging in a nice, cool hotel in Egypt.
I will say, as a second episode, giving us more in-depth idea about who the main villain, it was a very good world-building episode, I will say, because the second episode gave us more detail on our hero, our protagonist, in several different facets. We learned way more about Mark and Steven. We learned who Mark was in general.
Yeah, we got to see Steven go on the scavenger hunt.
Yeah, we learned more about Steven, kinda, that he might not be completely in control. He might not be the main dude. Which was kinda hinted at by the fact that, Mark was a killer in a different area.
Mm-hmm.
We learned who Harrow was, on a way more. We learned that Harrow was Khonshu's old dude. And then we learned who Lila was. And then we got to see another fight scene.
Yeah. And
But
then
I
in
will
the
I
next
say
one,
this group more though. I agree. I like this episode.
yeah. And then in the next one, we see more of Lila's backstory because it starts out with the whole backstory of her father being a like underground like archaeologist, you know, like
Yeah, because that's when she's getting like the passport, right?
yeah, it's the very beginning of the episode. And then this whole episode, I wasn't a fan of. This is my first. The third one was my first. Okay, if this is how this is gonna be, and I'm very happy that it kind of. I would say the third and the fourth one were really like hit and miss for me. But the third one just felt super super slow, and both of the fight scenes that we got in it were just like cool, more fighting, more very long fight scenes that are not important. Like the very beginning of it, he's chasing people through the streets, and then the kid jumps off the cliff. And then the other fight scene we get is them duking it out at like the black market place, and he gets spears all in him. The only cool part about it was the very end where Steven turns the sky. And
okay. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh yeah, no, that part was amazing. Like beautiful.
I will say I think I liked this episode a bit more than you did, but I kind of am on the same boat though that this is probably my least favorite episode. I'm conflicted cuz I really enjoyed obviously the last scene, like you said, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I love that, but I enjoyed the fact that this is the first episode that we got hints of Jake.
That's facts.
I liked that we got more backstory about Lila. And then we kind of got an idea of like the black market she's involved in. My issue is and we also got to meet the gods this episode. All the different whatchamacallits, what are they? The avatars. We got to meet all the avatars. And so I think like those are like 4 really good parts of this episode. The only issue is those scenes were like 2 minutes each, and then they were all sandwiched, like you said, between like they were like 5 minutes each for all those scenes, and then everything else was fights. I think the fight in the beginning of the episode where we get hints of Jake was good and necessary. I think the fight in the black market when Mark gets speared was unnecessary and didn't need to happen. I think they could have found a better way to integrate that part of the story without it becoming a 5-minute fight scene.
Yeah, that is true.
But I really love the Avatar bit. Like, that was a ton of good backstory that I'm really glad we got. So, I don't know. I feel like this episode did a lot to progress the story, but almost too much that it kind of hurt itself in that way. And then I think it might have been better if they just cut out all the fights in general, maybe except like a quick fight in the beginning where they showed Jake.
I think the first one was needed because we needed to see him doing things in Egypt for it to make sense to why he was there. And so I was okay with that. But when they went to like the underground dealer's place and then it was just like fight. And then people that we just met get murked and Steven, okay, now everyone chill the F out, and then wimps out and never mind, Merc, take it back, and then just more badassery, which I'm okay with. I love it, but it was just kind of on the same lines like you're saying. Like, I wish we would have gotten more backstory to why they were in Egypt and what was actually going on instead of maybe cool badassness.
Like, instead of them fighting in the underground, like, a market, take that, like, change that a little bit where like, Hera shows up and turns them against them and they have to, like, escape. Like, they do kind of, instead of a fight, like, Lila's like, we can't fight our way out. We have to stealth, Yeah. And have that happen. And then the time you save on that, give us a scene of Lila figuring out where Mark is. Explain that. Like, we could have had that scene, and that could have been like a little bit of more in depth. Like you could have showed maybe Lila has like some information from their marriage or something like that. Like you could have given us maybe. I just feel like there's more that this episode. There's a lot this episode did right that they could have filled out more, like you were saying, if it wasn't for like that long black market fight.
Yeah, it was not. And then wasn't the very end of the third episode the one where they hinted at the asylum?
I don't think so. No, because the asylum didn't show up until episode 4 at the very end of episode 4, and then 5 was the whole asylum episode, and then 6.
Yeah, but they hinted at it before the hippo scene, right? Or no?
Well, the hippo scene and like that whole part of him being in the asylum was all of the very end of episode 4.
Right,
so
right.
I don't remember anything before that.
No, yeah, they didn't hint at it before that. I was just getting mixed up. And then we go to 4, and I liked 4. Oh, I really, I liked 4 at the very end. 4 again was just a lot of, I felt like, unnecessary like action scenes because they make it into the temple, right? And then this is the episode where he gets shot.
Yeah. Okay, I take it back. I think this is my least favorite episode.
Yeah.
I think I like episode 3 a lot more than episode 4.
Only like this episode at the very end. When they find the tomb, when they find Alexander's tomb.
Oh, I love that part.
Right?
Oh, I wanted dude, if this was a 10-episode show, we could have gotten a 20-minute flashback to Alexander the Great being...
awesome.
Being Amit's avatar. That would have been badass.
That would have been dope.
I love Alexander the Great.
And then, yeah, I only really like the very end of this one because it just actually prolongs the story. Everything before that is really just like, we must find this thing, and everyone's running for it. We get a part where Layla is monologued to by Harrow. Yeah. And is saying, "Oh, well, Mark killed your father," and she's like,
Steven
no.
is Mr. I'm gonna steal your girl in this episode.
Yeah, and then zombies chasing after them. A cliff scene where you gotta like shimmy across the rocks happen. Somehow Layla kills a zombie.
Somehow Harrow and his men are all over this whole cabin
and haven't found it yet.
Tomb, but didn't find the Skyrim hole up on a top shelf that Steven literally found in 30 seconds.
He fell into. Yeah.
Like, he literally looked around, like, he saw the blood, was like, how about not? Yeah. Looks around for 30 seconds to try to find another solution because this boy's a wuss and doesn't want to go towards the blood. And then sees an alternate way. And it's like, let's go this way. How is it our villains...
They're blind, dude. They didn't... Like, you know when you're sneaking up to people in video games, you know how, like, when the eyes open, like... oh no, you've been seen, but when it's closed, you can just stealth around everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's what they are. They're just stupid.
Yeah, dude. It's just, yeah. I will say, like, I just said 3 minutes ago that episode 2 was my least favorite episode, and I forgotten about not 2, sorry. 3 was my least favorite, but I've forgotten about episode 4. Episode 4 is definitely my least favorite because, like, the Lila and Steven scene was just a little weird. Not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. And then, like, the whole Harrow and Lila scene was like, yeah, I enjoyed. That wasn't... honestly, I wish they would have, like, showed us it happening, like, at him monologuing a flashback or something.
Yeah.
Or, like,
because they shot it.
Yeah, like, you could have had him start the monologue and then it go to a flashback and them showing us parts of it, like, as he's speaking, they show it. But instead, we just get Lila, like, crying to him talking to her. And it's like, I get it, but also lame as fuck.
Yeah.
So boring. And then, the Alexander the Great part's cool, after you ignore the whole tomb debacle. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just feel like this episode was, like you said, carried by the last 5 minutes, and even then, the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes were like they were good, but they weren't. Like,
It was just shock. It was shock value, which is why
yeah.
it was so good. It was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is going on? Like, what?
I will say, like, it led great into episode 5.
Yes.
I liked the hint at Jake. I liked the fact that, like, we got to see the Hippo Lady, which pretty much confirmed to me that they weren't, like, under a spell or anything.
Yeah.
That it wasn't their dying brain doing that. I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot this episode did, and it spent a lot of needless time talking.
It still is his dying brain. The god was just there to take him away.
No, because that whole scene was like what makes them feel comfortable. They were on the boat, like the whole mental
but she was
hospital on the boat.
still taking him to be dead though.
Yes.
So he was dying.
Oh yeah. I don't disagree with that. What I meant, as I'll explain more, is you know how like sometimes like in movies or TV shows when a character's dying, it's like this is what your brain is thinking in the last like 5 minutes of your like last 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like while you're alive, and it's like their brain is concocting this thing in themselves. Yes, them dying caused this to happen, and the reason why it was a mental hospital was because this is what makes them comfortable, but it was them being taken off to the afterlife on a boat. So, like, it was different than what I expected to be, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I feel like you could equate it to the same thing, though. Because, like, the boat is just the passage, but, like, the inside of the boat is, like, the eye of the beholder kind of thing. So, like, everybody's boat is different.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's your mind dying. Because the boat will get there. Anywho, episode 5. We get into episode 5. And to me, this is when everything started to say, like, thank you. Okay, now we're getting somewhere with one episode left. Thank you. Fuck ton of backstory. Lots of scene changes, lots of awesome character building and character unfolding, and just I loved episode 5 so much. It reminded me of like Monsters Inc. because of how many like doors they went through.
Yeah.
And it was just I loved episode 5, and then it ended on a really bittersweet, like, Steven died, but
Mark is like balanced.
Yeah, but Mark got to be balanced and like go to the promised land kind of thing, and then it was just like, what's gonna happen next, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I would say I really loved this episode. I think this is probably my favorite episode because unlike every other episode, there really wasn't like a fight scene. Like there was technically one at the boat, but like 30 seconds isn't a fight scene.
Yeah, no. that was a heroic death right there.
Exactly. They just needed a plot reason for Steven to be thrown overboard and Mark balances his skills is what that was. My only complaint with the episode isn't the episode itself, it's where the episode was placed. Like, I loved the backstory. I loved the relationship Steven and Mark had. The fact that, like, Mark knew what was happening, but Steven didn't. It was like Steven was was living it for the first time, and Mark was reliving it, and it was heartbreaking. It was touching. It was super hard to watch, but also you didn't want to look away. My only issue is that we got it at the very end of the series.
Yep.
It's like, why are you giving this to me now? Like, cool, I do feel more like going into the finale, I'm even more entrenched, but also I feel like this should have been slotted the episode before the second to last episode. The second to last episode should have cleared up some plot holes, led up to the final collage of the climax, and the climax is the final episode, and then it clears up the rest of the plot holes needed.
Yeah.
But instead, you waited to give us backstory until the very, very, very last second, and then the final episode had to clear a ton of plot holes, which I mean, kind of did, but also kind of did half-assedly.
Yeah, it just kind of put like a big leaf over them and was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Here, all of these loose ends are now resolved. Wink, wink. It was like, I don't know. I don't have an issue with the episode. I just have an issue with where the episode was put. And that comes down to 6 episodes isn't long enough.
We have an issue with the episode count, not the episode itself. If they would have had 8 episodes or 10 episodes, this being the 5th episode is amazing. If there are more episodes after this. But because there's only one more, it's just like, why put everything that you put before this? If we're essentially just seeing a fresh start right here.
Well, especially because like this should have been like 60% into the show or 50%. Like
I mean, I feel like it was 60%, which is the crazy part.
Dude, I hate to agree.
Yeah, I feel like it was. I feel like it was so back half heavy. Like, sorry, go ahead.
Well, episode 4, 5, and 6. Well, not even 4 did a lot to escalate where we were in the plot, but it didn't do a lot.
It really only did that in the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was more. It didn't have a lot of substance. It was just a lot of plot pushing.
Yeah.
3 was the most packed substance episode possible.
Yeah.
5 just had so much backstory and character development for Mark and Steven alone because there was no other characters involved in 5. 5 was just Mark and Steven.
Yep.
Which I think is great if this were like an episode 5 out of 9 or an episode 6 out of 10. But like, because then we have these two working together or still learning to work together in episode 7, and then episode 8 they're kind of more of a well-oiled machine. Episode 9 they're a well-oiled machine, and then they lose or get close to losing, and then 10 they overcome it together and win. Like, I feel like this could have been a great like turning point for them, and it was. But it was like, it wasn't a turning point. It was like a hard pivot, turnaround sprint.
Yeah, I almost feel like it was a turning point, but it was like, I just felt like it was kind of a predictable turning point because it was like, of course you have to win. There's only one episode left, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, of course this is going to be resolved in the next episode because the last episode is the next episode. And there wasn't like a stake to Steven dying.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh no, his other personality is gone and he's healthy now, you know, quote unquote healthy now. And like, cool, what's gonna happen next? Is he gonna like talk to another higher being in the next episode? We'll switch to episode 6. No, he doesn't. All he does is turn around, and then the field turns into sand, and then the sand turns into him walking to Steven, and then he puts his heart into Steven's hand and said, "You're the superhero, buddy." And then they both come back to life in the first 5 minutes.
Which would I
fucking do? You know?
Yeah, there's no payoff for it.
No, it was
Steven dying. And,
it was so stupid.
It was another case of Marvel not knowing how to respect fucking death.
Yeah.
And then also, bro, the arguably the 5 most powerful beings in this whole show got fucking dicked on.
Yeah, they
just
got
fucking
out,
dicked
dude.
on by a man with an artifact.
Yep.
That's what Hero
Wasn't even an avatar.
He wasn't even the avatar yet, dude. This man had just a powerful fucking staff.
All 4 elements. No.
This man just had a powerful fucking staff. And also, I really wanted the bald dude who was the avatar for the main god. I can't remember his name. I called him the wrong name the other day. I keep saying Helios, but it's not Helios. It's
No, I think you're right. Wasn't it that?
I didn't think it was Helios. I thought it was something else.
Don't listen to my obnoxious typing. Osiris.
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 Yeah, Osiris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the shoes.
Or the shoes are like him. But I would have liked. This is kind of how I would rewrite it. It is that the gods start. The 4 avatars or the 5 avatars all come together and start fighting Hero, and they start to get the upper hand, and then Osiris stabs one of them, or Hero kills one of them, and then the other 2 are working together to help out the 2 strongest ones, which we're gonna say is Osiris and then Enter X.
Yeah, the song lady.
Yeah, and then Osiris kills backstabs the song lady. The other 2 are shocked by this. Hero kills another one. The other one tries to react quick enough but gets murdered by Osiris. And then Osiris and Hero fucking do...
Dab up.
They dab each other up. Yeah, pretty much. They do the meme of the black guy and the white guy with biceps doing the handshake, you know? They do that meme. They dab each other up. They handshake. And then
Haro kills him.
And then, then we get to, halfway through the episode. Osiris is working with him. They're, the main 2 villains. They want Amat to come back. Then Hero's about to die. And Osiris gets betrayed by Hero. And he absorbs his power or some bullshit. Or, he just stabs him because he's like, nah, you're an obstacle. You know what I mean?
You're just another way to get stopped.
You were just to get me to this point. I don't need you anymore. He has him unlock a specific thing that only Osiris can do or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And then he kills him.
Some kind of buff.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe the way he can break the statue instead of just hitting a stone statue against a mantle.
You just throw something.
Maybe it requires at least 2 avatars to break. You know what I mean? And that's why he needed Osiris. And then he kills Osiris afterwards.
Yeah, but no, you want to know what we get instead? We get Osiris powering up his hands with glowing balls. And then Layla running away down a hallway. And just a lot of bright flashing lights, and that's the whole fight. You don't even see anything. You're alluded to, there's some shit going down back there, and she just dips. I think
that's what pisses me off the most about that is
you don't even get a glimpse.
Fuck it. I would have rathered the last 10 minutes of episode 5
been that
and then that fight that they cut out, than just a full episode 5 of Steven and Mark.
Yeah.
I would have rathered them. They at least did that, because then it's I get it. You don't have time.
If there was something else.
But no.
If there was something else going on in episode 5 while Mark is doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot easier to make 6 not just a shit stain. Even though 6 was arguably really cool, because you get Ahmet and Conchu giant fighting each other, bigger than the pyramids of Giza, and they're going at it slow motion movement, big impacts.
It's so hard to... Okay, so our complaints this whole show have been fights.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between fights, and fucking monsters trying to kill each other, dude. Come on.
No. Just hear me out. I was about to finish saying our complaints this whole show has been fights. But the story's good.
Yeah.
That's been our whole opinion on this show. Episode 6 is legitimately flipped. The opposite. The story shit.
Yeah.
But holy shit, did you watch the big crocodile fight the bird dude?
Yeah, dude. It was awesome.
It's amazing. The fight was
and
so
it looked so good.
It
so looked
pretty.
Beautiful.
And I find it hard to say I didn't like this episode, because then I get so happy thinking about that fight. But any other part of that episode I think about, I don't like. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like any other part of this episode.
I liked the part when Layla had her her Mark and Steven moment in the tunnel with the hippo god. When
Yeah.
she was like herself, oh no, what's going on? What's happening? And then the hippo god was like, oh, hi, do you want to be my avatar? And was just like super happy and joyful. And it was just really cool seeing another actor do what Oscar Isaac has been doing for the entire show and switching personalities so quickly. And see her do the same thing was just like, you got acting chops. I love you even more. This is dope. And then she turns into a badass Falcon woman. Like, not Falcon knockoff, because I would arguably say she's more badass than Falcon.
Way more badass. Can we replace Falcon with her?
Oh, I'm down to replace Falcon with anybody because I don't like Falcon. I think he's really stupid because in the comics he actually has powers and can talk to birds. But in this,
dude, he's a man with a suit that doesn't even cover his head.
Exactly. Well, now he does because he has a cowl because he's Captain America.
A cowl that can probably be shot through.
Yeah.
A 50
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to slightly sidestep for a second. I'm going to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier in my spare time because that's the only one that I haven't watched. And I will just say right now, if in the future Falcon doesn't get the super soldier serum, he will be useless.
I will say that the Falcon, I hated Falcon. Hated him.
I'm just saying for character development, if he doesn't get it, he has no spot trying to kill any of the bad guys to come in Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Because they're only ramping up.
They have to be bigger than Thanos. No, I agree with you there. I will say this. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Why? I'm going to not say it because you need
to watch the show I know the plot of that show.
But
I already know it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
I will say that I hated Falcon before watching that show. Absolutely hated him because I just thought he was like
the definition of sidekick.
He was Cap's sidekick who got way more glory than he should have and way more screen time than he ever should have. And I absolutely hated it. And this show definitely made me respect him a lot more. I will say this show did a lot for his character, and I'm very happy this show happened. I think it was a very well done show and a very well written show. I just love the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I think the issue that a lot of people have with it isn't that the show was bad, but a lot of people were like, well, like, they're just like, there was so much more that Wanda had, or like Loki, and it's like, yeah, but these are already established characters, and fucking Bucky had more backstory than Falcon did, dude. So the show was like pretty much Falcon's backstory. The show had to do a lot of developing for the character that he just never got in the movies.
I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything, but I feel like they gave him good backstory. Like, if you watch all the movies that he's in, like, I feel like I know his morals only because he's Captain America's side bitch. You
know where he stands on
exactly.
Conflicts, yeah, but
on
that's
your left.
That's not backstory.
That's what he is, dude.
But that's not backstory. That's not character development. That's you know who he sides with when Civil War. Okay, cool.
No,
what else
I'm talking.
Do you know about him?
Well, I mean, this is what I'm saying is that like there were enough movies and enough like instances where you got to see him have dialogue. In my opinion, this is just in my opinion, like I just feel like I much rather would have gotten, because I know that it's like him trying to help his family and also represent, you know, people, because I'm about it, you know. I feel like them trying to chase down super soldier serum and bitches going crazy kind of thing is just kind of like, it's just really boring.
I mean, in concept it does. On paper it sounds really boring. In the way they did, that was really well done, because the people they're chasing you just need to watch it.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
But they do a good job of making you empathize for the villains, the quote unquote villains of the show.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of turning the people who should be the heroes into villains. And even though part of the show is the fact that he is black and he's representing, they also, I feel like, do it in a way that feels really organic and not forced, which is rare for, I feel like, a lot of TV shows nowadays.
Yeah, it's big feels.
And so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we got enough of Falcon to understand what Falcon's gist was.
Yeah.
But
and then we're just
relearning
it.
But we didn't know anything actually about him. We just knew his vibe.
Yeah.
Like Bucky, we know a lot about Bucky. From, the Captain America film, from the second Captain America film, from fucking, like, even we knew he had his rehabilitation with the Wakandans in literally 2 scenes. The end of Winter Soldier. Oh, not Winter Soldier. In the end of Civil War. And in the beginning of Infinity War. We know Wanda is a war-torn orphan. And her brother meant a lot to her. And her brother died. Like, Wanda has so much character development. And she's kind of like a side-ish character through the main films. She's not like one of the main bitches until like the very, very end.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like even Rhodey, War Machine, has more character development than Falcon. That's my only issue. Is like in the movies, Falcon gets nothing, and that's why I feel like a lot of people weren't necessarily like, when comparing Winter Soldier and Falcon and the Winter Soldier to like WandaVision, it felt very different. And it's because I feel like Falcon and the Winter Soldier had to do a lot more building of that character than the other shows had to, because we already knew so much more about them. You know what I mean?
It's also, oh no, I get you. It's also just like more of like espionage instead of like cosmic powers being splashed around,
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people didn't like Black Widow. Did you ever watch Black Widow?
Oh yeah,
Did you like Black Widow?
So yes and no.
I recently watched Black Widow, and I thought it was pretty solid, and I don't understand why people hated it. And I came to the conclusion that it's just because it's like an espionage. It's like Winter Soldier a little toned down. And there are plot points that I don't like, and there are character developments that I don't like. But overall, it was a solid movie.
Yeah,
it felt a little wonky because it was out of place, and normally Marvel's like really important on the whole like storyline, but like they made it clear where it fits in. Mm-hmm. Like it fits in right like right after Civil War. Correct?
Yeah.
Right before Civil War. Because at the very end, she says that she's got to go help her friends get out of prison.
Yeah.
So it was like Civil War just happened, and then her and Cap are breaking people out of jail.
Yeah, I will say this, that my issue with that film wasn't that it was like espionage or anything. The reason why I say yes or no is I didn't hate the film. I feel like it did a lot of good things. My issue with it was, well, I'll say what I liked about it first, because it's much easier to explain what I disliked than what I liked. What I loved about it was the main cast.
Yeah.
Her sister, their dad, their mom. Those 4, phenomenal chemistry. Hilarious. Phenomenal writing. They were hilarious. They worked really good together. Their choreography was great. Everything with them I thought was fantastic. And the whole backstory and their like dynamic, amazing. My issue with it was the main villain was so like mysterious the whole time until the very end that then by the time we knew who the main villain was, he was pretty much dead 10 minutes later.
Yeah, even with his long ass monologue.
Yeah, like it pretty much made me like for example, Ultron. You know pretty much from the get go who the main villain is and who you're fighting. This whole and then like even in Iron Man 1, Obadiah, you know he's the main villain, even though he's pretending to be Tony's best friend, like mentor.
You can tell.
You know he's the main villain. Iron Man 2, you know who the main villain of that film is the whole time. Like it's. But then Black Widow, it's like you don't really know who the main villain. You know a name, you know the organization, but you don't know him. You haven't seen his face. You don't know anything about him. Then you see his face, you learn everything about him, and he dies in 10 minutes.
Yeah, the very beginning of the movie. I thought I killed him. Shows backstory of her killing the daughter. Dun dun dun. Spoilers. Doesn't kill her somehow.
And
I don't know how blowing up an entire building wouldn't kill an 11-year-old. Just saying.
Yeah, and then I hadn't even gotten to
It only blew up the side of her face. And now she's mute. So what did I do? Turn her into a cyborg.
Yeah, well,
Sick.
and like, oh, bro, and that's the thing.
That's not
about
even
her.
Taskmaster.
Yeah,
Taskmaster's
okay.
a fucking badass.
Dude,
Sorry.
and that is my biggest issue with
Same.
the film. Like,
Same. That's
I
my
didn't even-
only that's like my only issue with the film.
Yeah, I just talked about their main villain being shit. Taskmaster and the disrespect to that character is my biggest issue with that film.
Same.
And so I feel like the film did a lot right, but it also did what it did wrong. It did wrong massively.
Yes.
And that's why I said yes and no to that, is
showed-
because I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed watching it, but I'm not going to say it's a good movie because it did a lot bad, but it's not a bad movie. It sits like in the I enjoyed it.
I would say
but
very
also,
neutral.
Yeah, it's a neutral movie. It's like I enjoyed it. It did a lot good, but it did a lot bad.
I would say it's a good watch to see entertainment, and if you don't know lore, it's a good movie. If you know the comics and you know characters and you know who they're supposed to be, it's a funny movie. But it's not a comic accurate movie. No, dude.
Well,
like,
and if you just want more Black Widow, if you just want
watch
more
it.
ScarJo,
So good.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
good.
And if
and
you
like-
want the new Black Widow, her sister, amazing.
Watch it. Yeah.
So
and
good.
if you want to watch a family movie that is akin to like how Deadpool 2 is a family movie,
Yeah.
and you want a family movie akin to that, then watch it. Like
Yeah.
the main four, I cannot stress more how the main four cast members were amazing in this
Super
film.
good.
I just feel like they spent so much time building them and their backstory that they forgot they had to have an antagonist.
Yeah. Okay, this is my last thing about it. If you don't know who Taskmaster is, he's like the most elusive villain in Marvel.
He's so cool. He's so cool.
Sees people and how they fight and how they do physical things, and he copies them to a T, like to the exact precise measurement. So if he fights Captain America essentially cannot beat him because he's fighting himself.
Well,
and yes,
and
Cap could
like,
do it all day, but like, no, it's a perfectly even match every time.
Well,
if he fights Thor, same thing. I would argue Hulk because he can't Hulk out, but like it's pretty much like a 1-for-1 everywhere.
Yeah,
and he always runs away.
He can't copy their power.
No,
but he can copy their fighting style.
Yes, and the cool thing is that like once he learns that like person's fight, he can always use that fight, which means when he learns all of how all of the Avengers fight, if he fights one of them one-on-one, he tries to kill them as all of the Avengers fighting one of them. So
And,
it's
like,
just like it's so cool, and they absolutely
butchered it.
took that away, and it was just a Russian dude saying, "She's had the perfect teacher," my horrible Russian accent. And then it's just like, oh, well, so Taskmaster's only watched... Well, no, he says he says that she can fight as all of the Avengers because she has a shield and she has claws like Black Panther.
She shoots the bow once.
Yeah, so like once. And so it's just yeah, okay, I digress.
They do like they try to involve certain elements of it, but like they pushed over like the fact that Taskmaster is not a cyborg and he's supposed to be able to memorize on the fly, and they pretty much made it seem like that the only reason why they're able to do any of this is because they studied and have like rope like enhancements to them.
Yeah, they're pretty much like
and
like
a
the
mindless
Matrix
drone, and like I just
like at the very beginning,
it
shows them pushing a hard drive into the back of her neck, like the Matrix. Like they're jacking her in, and then is downloading kung fu to her brain.
It's like Chuck from the TV show Chuck when he gets
exactly like
in
Chuck.
his brain.
Yes.
Dude, and like I'd say the best Taskmaster fight in the MCU, like the cinematic universe, isn't even with Taskmaster. Like the best example of the way he fights is when Tony is fighting Captain America in Civil War, and he's like, Friday, download every fight Captain America's
and then
ever
Cap
had.
just bah, 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 bah.
And then he whoops
download
his
complete.
ass.
Let's kick his ass.
And then they do it. That's literally Taskmaster every fight.
Yes,
every
millisecond. That is his brain.
And so it's like we got an example of what it would look like. But yeah, okay, we really got off topic.
That's okay. So overall, if you've made it this far, thank you, because we tangent, and that tangent was like 15 minutes. So if you've made it this far, Moon Knight, 1 out of 10, I will give it a 6. Because that's how many episodes it gave us. I give you a 6 out of 10.
Very on theme for our complaints.
Yes, I give it a 6 out of 10 with some like minus points in horrible storytelling. Great plus points in great like character development for main character and main character only. I mean, Layla was pretty cool, but like she really didn't get any character development to like.
Harrow had more character development than she did.
Okay, minus all 6 points because fuck the monologue, man. So stupid. The show's got a 0 out of 10. Not worth it. Don't watch it. No, I'm kidding.
You forgot about him.
No, every time he started to talk, I was just like, oh, sick, cool. I don't care. You're just gonna like. You know how some people don't watch anime because there's too much exposition?
Yeah.
That's every time Harrow was talking, I'd been like, oh, sick, cool, you're going to talk and then fight? Oh, wait, no, you're just going to slam your stick into the ground and say, ah!
Well, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would give it a good 6 of 10 with faults.
Yeah.
Is it notable? Oscar Isaac is notable.
Yeah.
I loved him in this show. But overall,
yeah. I kind of agree. I agree mostly for that sentiment. I don't know. I'd say like this show had potential to be like an 8.
If it had 8 episodes, maybe.
It just was rushed.
Yeah.
And because of it, it had a lot of shortcomings that it wasn't like they couldn't fix it easily, but they just didn't have the time. I think I'd give it a 6.5. It's an enjoyable watch. I'd recommend it. I'd say
I would too.
As a character, a superhero I've been wanting to be shown on the big screen for a long time. I'm happy Moon Knight finally got some love.
Yeah, that's
and
facts.
So for that reason, I'd say it's notable, but it used cuts and like gaps in memory as a very interesting and very unique storytelling device.
I also think they just used it as a plot device.
Too much.
Yeah.
I would say at the last 3 episodes, the last like 3 episodes, they used it too much. The first 3 episodes, they used it just enough. I feel like. I enjoyed the world building. I just feel like
Yes.
I feel like they laid a really solid foundation, and we're like, okay, there's your house. We're like, but this is just the ground floor. Like, this is just the foundation. Like, nope, this is the house.
This is it. This is everything. Goodbye.
There
okay.
you go. And it was
Do I get any housewarming presents? Nope. Fuck off.
They showed us all the different gods, which was super cool. Never talked about them again.
Yeah, but no, they
never
didn't.
talked
they
about
showed
them
us their
again.
avatars.
We
didn't even get to see them.
We learned all of their names once.
Once.
And then like they talked about like the past like a handful of times, but like never got any in depth at all about it. The choreography was cool, almost too cool, where they did it too much. I will say though, I think something that this show did well was its acting. I would say I will say every actor nailed it. There wasn't a single time where I watched it and was like, this is uncomfortable, this is cheesy. Like, all the actors were top from, like, extras to the main cast. Like,
it was
villain,
super
antagonist.
immersive.
Yeah.
100%.
Super good acting. It almost carried the show in a lot of ways.
Oh, I would say it did. I would say
sure.
The cast carried it. The writing is what dragged it down. And the amount of episodes is what killed it.
Yeah. I will say I enjoyed Harrow as a character.
I did too.
I like the Monologue Man. I just feel like the Monologue Man was used in I feel like
every second that he could monologue, he did.
I just feel like
every
it wasn't
second.
his fault. It wasn't the character's fault or
he was just
the
a lore
actor's
dude.
fault. It was just
the
way
writing.
they used him in this story. Yeah. But I loved the Monologue Man. I will say the show the more I talk about it, I'd say it's a solid 6, not a 6.5. It gets docked points for the fact that in the final episode, we got a huge kaiju fight. We didn't get to see the resolution to the fight with the main villain, Harrow.
Yes.
We didn't even get to see... Oh, fuck you, dude. That was episode 1 through 3 tropes. You're not supposed to bring that into the final episode. The fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
We don't even get to see the final fight. We don't get to see the fight between the avatars and Harrow. And, you know, for a dude who was the avatar of the Moon Knight, you'd think Harrow would have better fighting. But really, it do just be throwing that staff into the ground.
I will say, that is the only thing that I disagree with you on. It's because that man had moves. For him being an old man with a stick...
Tell me when those moves were used. That bitch, that bitch only used moves in the final. The final fight is the only time that man ever used moves.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when him and Moon Knight were fighting before he blacked out, the man got his ass kicked. He lost the fight, and the only reason why he won was because he blacked out, and then exactly he blacked out, and then Jake said, "No," and then killed everybody. But like, he got his ass kicked, but he was literally just a man with a stick. He had no god powers. He was not an avatar. It made no sense to why the man could like take punches from Moon Knight. Like, he should have had a concaved chest.
The only time that Harrow's durability and strength
went up to 1,000.
The only time it ever made sense was when he became the avatar of Amit.
The very last second.
Even then, we never even saw him put a suit.
No.
But like, that's the only time his fucking OP shit ever made sense, and then it just didn't do it again. Yeah. And then also. When did the followers be able to read people's scales? I thought that was the power of his staff. But apparently his followers can read scales because they did it in the final episode.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of stupid. The only reason why this is the only thing. I feel like the only reason why it makes sense is because they had the tattoo. And he, like, bestowed that power onto them when he judged them, you know?
Yeah,
Or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing, twigs into the fire. But
yeah,
like,
you're trying to figure out like
yeah,
a rationale.
I agree though, dude. It was just stupid as hell. The only
I just
good
feel
thing,
like if you have to like try really hard to come up with headcanon to explain something, then
it's bad.
It's bad writing.
Yeah. The only like really really cool thing is that like at the very end of the show, we get to see a hint at Jake, and then he kills Harrow in a after credits scene. Daniel didn't watch it because he didn't watch the final credits. Sucker.
I did not.
You should rewatch that, just the last couple.
I plan on it.
Just a little bit. But yeah. So once again, if you made it this far, it's pretty cool. Thanks. Leave a like and subscribe, or like comment.
And please share it to your friends. Like honestly, every view helps.
Yeah. That's
every
facts.
view helps. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you showing up. So
if you've made it through an hour of us talking about a show we just watched for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, because there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's just going to be our final note is Disney. I know you're listening. Get your shit together, okay?
Yeah. Yeah,
This was 6 out of 10. 6 because of your episode count. Also, it's like
you got a D.
A 6 is like on the attractive scale. It's like 6 is as low as you'll go. It's not bad, but like you don't necessarily want it. It's like
if you're also just trying to letter grade them, 6 is 1 from failing.
Yeah, you passed barely. I just feel like
you passed because you casted Oscar Isaac.
I feel like this is honestly, this show is the perfect like encapsulation of what Marvel Disney has become. It's
is just
nailing
empty wishes.
nailing the casting, amazing. But then
failing to deliver.
But then just fucking up legitimate story writing.
Yeah.
Or
trying to wow the audience when we just want good wholesome writing
that
we know. And they're trying to like play like, oh, you'll never see it coming. Yes, we will. We've been growing up with you for a bazillion years.
And it's like, it was like, oh, cool. Another Disney thing where like I leave wanting more, but it's like, I guess it wasn't that. Like, you gave me some, like, you know the things we like, but also like it was just lacking substance in a lot of ways. I
Disney,
don't know.
Underquote, blue balls.
Yeah, dude. I will say the new Doctor Strange movie was,
and that's where we'll end it. No.
It definitely breaks that mold, but that's because Sam Raimi directed it, and I love Sam Raimi, and that man is amazing, and he's a great writer and a great director, and you can tell the difference in his tone in that movie comparative to any other Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I'm going to try and see it probably next weekend. I don't like to go like weekend of opening. Yeah, just because I ain't trying to watch it with like a million people. Ooh, ah, ha, 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 ha. I want a quiet theater.
You should watch it so then we can do a podcast about it here soon.
I'm going to try and see it next weekend or sometime this week, maybe before I have to go to work. But I definitely want to watch it because I do want a podcast on it. It just, I hate going into theaters where people don't shut up. Like, if people are talking, I'm gonna hate the movie because of the people, and I don't want that. So, like, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
When people pull me out of movies, it just makes me not care anymore because I get detached from the reality that is being displayed. So, but yeah. Okay. Actual outro. Daniel, go.
Thank you again for watching this far. Please like and subscribe and share. Every share matters. Every comment matters. Every like matters. Every view matters. You matter. Thank you again. You can follow us at A Noted Podcast on Twitter. You can follow us on Spotify at The Noted Podcast, YouTube at The Noted Podcast, and Instagram at The Noted Podcast. I've been your host, Daniel, and Eric has been your
I've
host.
been your host, Eric. No.
Yeah, Eric has been your host. I've been a person in the sideline. Daniel, thank you so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and have a fantastic night.
Get the fuck out of here.